Chan, speaking
Oh,
of which,
oh my God.
speaking about a guy who's not about journalism and about integrity, one Stephen A. Smith. I told you he's a heel. Y'all initially y'all had him at a tweener. I'm starting to feel like y'all more convinced to say heel. Did y'all see his response about the New Orleans Pelicans?
Oh, the fact that he's bigger on social media than a lot of the New Orleans Pelicans.
Who
Yes.
cares?
Outside of Zion.
He disappoints me more than Sage Steele and Jason Whitlock. He disappoints me more than either one of them because I felt like neither one of them was really on our side like that. He was. And it just feels like it's just like he's slowly fading away. Well, not slowly anymore. I
This
am
whole
more disappointed in him than the other two. Because I used to hold Stephen A. Smith in high regard, especially when he first came and was in ESPN and doing his stuff like that. It was
quite
like, okay.
frankly. Yeah.
Yeah, quite frankly, show. Like when he first appeared on when it was Cold Piece and then ultimately became First Take, when he first got on that show and was really kind of, he felt like he was more of a voice of reason on that show. And it's like when the money started rolling in and the popularity started going up, his head got big. Now he's talking about running, and now he's talking about a presidential run in 2028 and all this other BS that he's talking
His
about.
forehead is already that big. I mean, look at
Well,
his damn hairline.
don't even get me started about the
had enough to
forehead,
deal
man.
with you, Stephen A.
That dude don't have dreams. He have movies.
You can hear but the whole state of New York with
This
that.
whole thing started when he talked about Zion Williamson. Zion Williamson was on ESPN's NBA Today with Malika Andrews, and Zion talked about how difficult it has been for him regarding the rehab, the injuries, the criticism of his weight. And Stephen A. Smith brought up the fact how people have been addicted to a lot of things. Zion's addiction was food. How he got busted for hiding food underneath his bed. To which the Pelicans organization, they trolled him on social media by showing some videos of Stephen A. Smith airballing some jump shots with him and James Harden, or the baseball pitch, or him shadow boxing. And even Stephen A. Smith took the time to respond to all of that. My thing is, two things could be true. What he said about the Pelicans as an organization, they're just awful. Because 24 years since they've moved from Charlotte to New Orleans, they've only won 2 playoff series. They still haven't been to a conference finals, let alone an NBA finals. And I think it's time for the Pelicans at this point just to move on from Zion Williamson. I'm sorry. For whatever reason, the Zion Williamson experiment has failed in New Orleans. It's just time to move on and
I
start
don't.
fresh.
I don't think I don't think he's really that kind of a fit anymore for what they're trying to do in New Orleans anyway. I
Right.
mean, you got Trey Murphy, you got Derek Queen, Derek Queen is turning into a monster for them. It's just what they're trying to do. I'm with you. Zion needs to move. I mean, he needs to move on. He's not a fit for what they're trying to do schematically anymore anyway.
But at the same time, I piggyback everything to what Michelle Obama, the first lady, said about ESPN and First Take. Remember last year? Remember, champ? Remember when Michelle Obama was on her podcast and she talked about ESPN being the Real Housewives of Atlanta and Stephen A. Smith being a potential housewife? Because that's where ESPN is nowadays. Because when you see these ridiculous takes, and Lord and behold, good Lord, thank the good Lord, L. Duncan is out of ESPN after
Thank
what
God, I'm
happened with
telling you.
that lousy Kendrick Perkins take. I've said it before. Kendrick Perkins is the type of person who, if he's cooking my breakfast, I throw it in the trash. That's how awful he is when it comes to his
And
basketball or sports taste.
and I've been a fan of Elle Duncan for years, going back to like when she was on 790 to Zone doing the Two Live Stews with Doug and Ryan Stewart in Atlanta. I've been a fan of hers for years, bro. So I'm like any type of upward movement for her, and I follow her on Twitter and IG and all that stuff. I've been a fan of her for years. She is so good at what she does. So any upward trajectory for her, I'm supporting 1,000%.
Because Stephen A. Smith, what he said about the Pelicans organization is true. Because as an organization, They are just not a good organization. They've now just won their 20th game. They're probably going to end up in purgatory. They're going to end up having a top pick in the draft. They got to move on from Zion Williamson because at this point, no matter what you can do with Zion Williamson, for whatever reason, it has.
Real quick before we move on, they're not going to end up with a top pick because we're going to have their pick. We have their pick. It's the better pick
I'm sorry.
between. Yeah, it's the better pick between the New Orleans Pelicans and the Milwaukee Bucks. They're not going to have it because we're going to have it.
But bottom line is, look, what he said about the Pelicans as an organization is true. But at the same time, Stephen A. Smith, did you have to take the time to respond? Of all the things you could have done, you chose this to respond to the Pelicans organization.
Mm-hmm.
That tells me how extremely sensitive that you are. And it also tells me what Michelle Obama has been saying about you and ESPN has been pretty much true. And again, for Michelle Obama, of all people, to actually say that, because again, normally you hear sports takes when you hear it from Barack. For her to say that about ESPN, that should really let you know exactly how you are as a network and an organization. And with Stephen A. Smith, because it's not about journalism, it's not about reporting, it's not about that type of stuff. It's about giving ridiculous, stupid, ridiculous, outlandish takes, and that's what we're doing with ESPN. It's not about journalism. We miss the good old days of Rest His Soul Stuart Scott or John Clayton or Chris Mortensen. But nowadays, this is what we are with ESPN. No journalism. It's just lousy takes. And with Stephen A. Smith, it doesn't change you. Money doesn't change you. It makes you more than what you already are. So he was already this. Now with the money and everything else, he's becoming even more of what he is. And it's just embarrassing because, wait a minute, dude. Look, the Pelicans, they trolled you. All you could do is just move on. Move on, let it go. Why are you paying attention to what the Pelicans organization is doing by them trolling you? Tells me how extremely sensitive you are. He just can't help himself. He can't help himself.
He got to speak on something. He got to speak on something. He got to make himself heard.
He got to make himself heard because this is his way to try to earn his money, try to get his clicks, try to get his ratings or whatever. Again, everything that Michelle Obama said was right on the nail. I couldn't have said it any better than Michelle Obama. ESPN is like reality TV. It's like Love and Hip Hop. It's like Housewives of Atlanta. It's like Kardashians or something like that. It's not about the actual sporting and events. And again, when we pay attention to ridiculous situations like that, we're taking away great moments from coveraging the WNBA, the NBA, the MLB, the NFL. There's a lot of other things. There were other things you could have discussed or talked about. Instead, you chose that because, Stephen A., you just can't help yourself. Your ego is so damn huge. It's as huge as Jason Whitlock's appetite.
Apparently, his refrigerator. Thank you, Dwayne.
But I did like the fact that Stephen A. Smith. I did like the fact that Stephen A. Smith was talking about the food part. What he said about Zion with the food part, that is kind of true though, because when Mariah Mills of all people is exposing you and telling you that you need to lose weight and exposing your soda addiction.
Not that wisdom tooth. Oof. Oh, Jesus.
But again, Stephen A. Smith, he could have just said, you know what? I'm not going to let the Pelicans organization bother me. I'm Stephen A. Smith. I'm doing all these things. You're bragging about how you are bigger than them, how you own your own brand, how you own it. It's like, dude, you got to bring up everything that you have just to act as if you're better than everybody else. It sounds like to me you really have some serious insecurities about yourself.
He's very insecure. He's very insecure. If you know you're great, why do you have to talk about it?
The greats don't talk about themselves because they already know.
The greats do not talk about it at all. I know he's probably laughing at my wisdom tooth comment, but that's a whole nother conversation.
No, he's laughing about the part when I mentioned that Mariah Mills exposed Zion Williamson. I mean, it looks bad when she's telling you that you need to lose weight need to go on a treadmill and you need to incorporate different things to your game. I mean, look, what he said about Zion with the food part is true because, again, Zion brought that on himself. You are
Yes,
what
he
you eat.
did. Exactly.
You are what you eat. But I want to hear what the big fella has to say.
All right.
Don't let your mouth be closed like the refrigerator being closed.
Oh, boy.
I have been taking myself off the air for the last 20 damn minutes because y'all, I can't even freaking talk, bro. The Wilson Keith comments, even I cannot, bro. Y'all. This is what happens when you do shows with your friends. This is why when you go to work, the boss won't let you work with your friends because they know.
I'm telling you, you go to school and in the classroom, and it's the same three fellas that you hang with all the time, and they tell you about to move to the back because or they put you in different on different aisles because you can't sit next to each other.
I'm just gonna Bash ain't here because they want to bust it up a little bit.
Oh boy, oh boy.
But look, man, don't take any advice. Don't take any criticism from people who you want to take advice from. I will say that. And Mariah Mills,
she ain't the one.
In 2016, I might have taken your advice, but unfortunately, it's 2026.
I'm telling you, that ship sailed a long time ago.
And fellas, I'm gonna just be real. If you go get into some trouble, make it be worth something. There's this thing that I used to have this thing that I used to always say. Does the fun outweigh the consequences? Does the fun outweigh the consequences? And if the fun outweighs the consequences, go for it. But if that fun, if that consequence outweighs the fun, then let it go. Of all people, Zion, man, I love you to life, bro. Mariah Mills, the 2020.
Mariah Mills in the big 2026.
Yeah, bro, you. In the great words of Sergeant Jackson, one of my favorite NCOs, brother, you got to tighten up your shot groups.
Do you have anything to say regarding Stephen A. Smith responding to the Pels PR?
No, because he didn't have to respond to that. I mean, everything he said about the organization was true. I don't really hold that against Stephen A. because, look, man, I'm going to just be real. If you're going to have a joke or two to spill about somebody, make sure that you got the credentials in order to back up your jokes. So I don't have as much blowback as you guys. That's him saying something about the Pelican organization. He's absolutely right. Like,
but what did I say? What Michelle Obama said about ESPN?
I have no problem with that as much. But if he, get in the game. But if you're the Pelicans, if you're gonna clap back, make sure get in the game first. Get in the game, put up some points, and then you can talk about Stephen A. But y'all organization has been terrible. I mean, and you can't really talk about nobody if you ain't got nothing to talk about. So I ain't have a problem as much with it. I mean, hey, he's spewing facts. Now, if you would have just people are going to talk about, how, Zion Williamson needs to tighten up. Yeah, I agree. I need to tighten up.
So I need to tighten up.
I need to tighten up. And, PSP, you know more than anybody else about stuff that I'm doing now. But, all advice.
The only person that needs to tighten up is Mariah Mills because lately,
hell, bro, like I said, 2016, Mariah Mills, yeah.
Oh, 2016 is a win.
Yeah.
What the?
I don't know what happened, bro. Y'all. But, yeah. I ain't got no problem with it. If it had been anybody else, we probably wouldn't be sitting here talking right about now.
I just think with Stephen A. Smith, man, look, he just gave once again validation to what Michelle Obama has been saying about ESPN and reality TV, champ. If Brian Windhorst, if somebody trolled Brian Windhorst on social media, do you think he would take the time to respond the way Stephen A. Smith would? No, because he's like, I got bigger things to do. But with Stephen A. Smith, he just cannot help himself. What he said about the Pelicans organization is true. It was laughing. I was laughing about the part about Zion hitting food underneath the bed. I mean, like, that was laughable in itself. But Stephen A. Smith, again, your ego, dude. Your ego. And this is why I call you a heel. Because you becoming more than what you already are. You're becoming difficult. And plus, even LeBron even talked to Zion off the air and called out Stephen A. Smith. Am I lying?
Nope, you're not lying. You're not lying. You're not.
So, my thing is with Stephen A. Smith, he just can't help himself. He just has to say everything. Broad couldn't have said it any better. Broad Sports. Stephen A. Smith is an attention, you know what? I'm not going to use the W word, but you know what I mean by attention
junkie. An attention junkie.
Yeah. Because Stephen A. Smith, the more he just loves to address and talk and talk. And plus, him trying to run for president of the United States in 2028. I mean, come on, man. Nobody with sense gonna vote for him. Y'all ain't gonna vote for him.
Oh, not the least bit.
I would vote for him for student council, much less president.